Thank you very much, Mr Acting Deputy President. As I've reflected on many times in this place, Western Australia is no stranger to pioneering new and globally competitive and commercially successful industries. You just have to look at our resources and agricultural sectors and now our rapidly developing defence and space industries. So today I rise to speak about another exciting opportunity for Western Australia to make our great state a global hub for lithium mining, production and also technological development. With some planning and coordination, West Australia can become the world's new Silicon Valley, or in this case, Lithium Valley. Right from mining raw ore through to the development of new applications for industries such as in the aerospace and energy storage sectors. We can, and as a state we now need to believe we can work together to make this a reality. A report prepared for the Association of Mining and Exploration Companies, AMEC, on the lithium industry, which came out last year, breaks down the 5 key processes of value chain production for battery production. In this case, it's mining, refining, electroprocessing, cell production and assembly. Now, while it's no secret at all that in Western Australia and in Australia we've always been world leaders in extracting and exporting our natural resources, in this case minerals. But we now have the, I think, probably unprecedented opportunity to grow a new industry, to process and manufacture raw lithium into new products and even into new technologies. And particularly, I think it's very exciting opportunities now in the energy generation and storage industries. In relation to the first part of this value chain production, in this case in the mining of the ore, Australia represents 51% of the global value share, 51% of the value of lithium mined globally. And this compares to our closest competitors, which is Chile at 29%, Argentina at 14% and China at 5%. So that's for the first stage of value chain processing. But despite this commanding lead in the mining of lithium, we then slip off the measurable index when it comes to the next 4 stages in the value chain. And today, China is the largest global player in the refining, electroprocessing and cell production, and Japan is the largest in assembly. But I firmly and very passionately believe it is time for that to change. We have the lithium, we have the technology, and we also have the workforce to make that happen. Recently I had the honour of visiting the Pacific Industrial Company south of Perth, where they are building plant infrastructure for the Tanqui lithium record $700 million investment in Kwinana, which is just south of Perth. The fact that $700 million is being invested into this facility, I think, is a very clear demonstration that we can do far more than simply mine the resource, but we can also value add through refining, which is what this facility is designed to do. So the first $400 million stage of this massive operation will produce 60% of the globe's lithium supply when it's completed. And in fact, the demand is increasing so rapidly that even before Phase 1 is finished, they're adding a second $300 million plant to increase production to 120% of the current world demand. But we know that by the time both of these facilities are completed, the demand will have risen globally by that much. So this facility signals that Australia has actually entered into the second phase, that is, into the refining. And to get a better sense of the scale and pace of demand in this industry, you just need to have a look at the decisions of global car manufacturers to increase their production of electric vehicles. Volvo, Nissan, Ford, Volkswagen and Mercedes, and many others, predict that electric vehicle sales will make up double digits of their market share in the very early 2020s. But it's not just in the motor vehicle industry that lithium is used. It's also used in many other industries, including aircraft components and anywhere there is a weight-sensitive requirement for energy storage. Australia is very well placed to develop as a competitive player through the remainder of the value chain. particularly taking into account the abundance of lithium, but not just lithium, of many other minerals required for some of these new technologies. So, for example, we've also got copper, nickel, cobalt and aluminium, which again places us in the box seat to take advantage of these emerging technologies. So as a state, so what does that actually mean then for Western Australia and also for Australia? West Australia could quite rapidly dominate the global supply of lithium batteries, the development of new applications for these minerals, and also the technologies that can derive out of this, the new technologies development, creating decades of new jobs within Western Australia and also a new skill base for people in Western Australia across adjacent industries. So while Australia clearly, and Western Australia in particular, clearly has the capacity to become a global player of these direct battery inputs, with the additional benefits directly supporting energy storage, innovation in both industry but also in academia. But like the creation of any new industry, it won't just happen. The global lithium valley that I envisage can and should be developed. As I said, it can be done using existing West Australian resources, our smarts, and also the technological capabilities we have within our state. We just now have to have the confidence and the vision, a shared vision, to implement this new industry. So what will it actually take? I've had a look at overseas experience and what are some of the factors of success across value chain production. We'd need to leverage across one of these 5 key areas. First of all, you need the political and economic desire to generate more value and more employment in country. Clearly we already have that in Australia, and particularly we have that in Western Australia. We also need the political, economic and academic desire to develop in-country research and development of these new technologies. We clearly have that. But we also need the economic and political desire and belief that we can support downstream emerging industries in our country, that we don't just have to anymore dig it out of the ground and send it elsewhere to value add. There are, of course, economic balance of trade considerations and also trade security through access to a broader range of customers, existing and new ones. So clearly, in Western Australia, we have many of these preconditions, but we do now need to raise awareness and increase confidence within our own state and within our country that it can happen. And in fact, as I've said, $700 million is being invested in 2 new refinery and production processes in Western Australia. But now we have to look to work together to make the rest of it happen. The Lithium report released last year made a number of very sensible recommendations on how we can work together across the 3 levels of government to implement this. The first set of recommendations speak about raising awareness of Australia's lithium opportunities and ensuring the development of this industry, along with adjacent industries, as a priority for the federal government. The second set of recommendations are about ensuring that the federal government and the state government get the policy settings right. These include state governments looking at new state agreements, streamlining approval processes across a range of agencies to attract new investment, and also to review industry concessions. And for the Commonwealth Government, the report recommended the funding and facilitation of enabling infrastructure and research through organisations such as the CSIRO, the NAIF and also the Clean Energy Finance Corporation. I've got to say, other nations are not blind to the opportunities in the lithium industry and other associated metals, and are rapidly developing the industrial capability to capture a share of this growing market. And that is something that we've still got an advantage in delivering, but we haven't got a lot of time if we are really going to take the production, the refinery of our own metals into the 21st century. West Australia has always been at its best when our state and federal government representatives work together with industry to develop new opportunities. We did that 50 years ago with the iron ore industry, and I believe it is time to once again do it so that West Australia can become the new Lithium Valley. The future is very bright indeed for this new industry. Thank you.